you're getting $60 an hour working here. You're working at Nail Bottom Construction. If you want to, of course.
Haven't exactly told me what this job is you're hiring for.
Primarily will be labor work. But there is something that I need you to do for me first. And I'll tell you about that later. It ain't no big deal.
I suppose.
What do you say, Rusty?
I guess now work for Nail Bottom Construction, sure.
Excuse me. Do you mind if I take a load off here?
Not at all, sir. Help yourself.
Thank you, sir. I'll tell you what. There is no better bar out there than right here at Diamond Danny's Pub.
The place is an absolute shithole, but I agree. It literally is probably my favorite place on this earth. It's just like such a good spot. I wouldn't change a single thing about it.
Well, this room here is nice. Probably because no one ever comes back here. I always call this the secret room. I didn't realize that anybody else knew about this back room here, the secret room.
Yeah, it truly is like a hidden gem, this room. I usually just come back here to get a break from the cigarette smoke.
I agree. I cannot stand the smell of cigarettes sometimes.
Oh, no, that's not what I'm saying at all. I love the smell of cigarette smoke. I'm just, like, trying to quit right now. So if I'm, like, out there and I'm around the smell for too long, then I start fiending for cigarettes. And then, you know, eventually I will start chiefing some fucking heaters. And I'll start off by bumming them at first. But if I bum for too long, usually what happens is I'll get hollered at. So I'll wind up buying my own pack, which is like pretty costly. If you're seeing the prices of cigarettes now, they get pretty costly. They really do. So I'll just come back here and like incremental breaks just to like try to avoid that that hilarious scenario that I just broke down for you.
Right. It also gets hot and musty in there very frequently when people start packing in. So it's always cool back here in this secret room.
I know it's cold outside now, but do you always have to wear that like shirt and tie and coat and such even when it's hot outside?
Yes, sir, indeed. Odds are when you see me, there's sweat in my gooch and my ass crack.
Do you just like always looking sharp, or do you have to dress like that for work?
Well, I suppose a little bit of both, but the main reason is I have to wear all this every day is for work.
What do you do for work?
I am a detective.
Oh, so you're a pig.
Ha! Only when fresh made homemade pumpkin bread with a wisp of cream cheese in it is presented to me.
I was just kidding around. I had this uncle, he's dead now. He was like a violent alcoholic. He died of alcohol poisoning because he was drinking too much. But he used to be a police officer, and like he'd sometimes would let me hold his gun, which was always pretty cool. But the one time I accidentally fired the gun off, which like kind of wasn't my fault considering he didn't put the safety on when he was going to give it to his kid nephew to hold. So after that, I was only really allowed to hold his baton, which wasn't really cool as holding the gun, but it was like kind of a liability issue at that point.
Oh, it's y'all in good fun. Believe me, I've been around for a while there, sir, and there are plenty of cops that I have met in my in endeavors that I would easily consider myself as they would consider them as pigs.
I do love pumpkin bread, though. Actually, my one ex-girlfriend, her mom used to make the best. Well, she probably still does, but she used to make the best pumpkin bread. and she would give us loads like during the fall time for me and my ex-girlfriend when she was my girlfriend at the time. And actually that same ex-girlfriend, she heaved a loaf of her mom's pumpkin bread, and it hit me right in the fucking head.
Oh my.
Yeah, and like honestly, it was just like an enormous waste of like perfectly good pumpkin bread. I mean, perfectly good pumpkin bread. I mean, if you're trying to like heave something at me, like it was soft, so like it didn't even hurt. She was mad at me. I can't even remember what the actual probably reason was at the time, but if she was that mad, she wanted to throw something at me, at least throw something hard that's gonna like actually hurt if it hits my head. The pumpkin bread was soft, so it didn't hurt.
I agree. I agree. So, what is it that you do for work? I'm Tony, by the way.
You know, that fits. You look a lot like a Tony.
My own mother was the one who chose the name, and she always told me growing up that I did not look like it. So you are the first person to ever tell me that.
Why are you wearing sunglasses inside?
When I was younger, there was actually a big fire that I was exposed to. So I have to wear sunglasses all the time, even when I'm indoors, because my eyes have permanent damage. Yeah, are very sensitive to any sort of light, you see.
Oh, that's pretty badass. I just kind of assumed that you were like stuck in like an 80s music video or something. My name's Rowan Vanderbeake, but I really don't know a soul on this God's green earth who calls me Rowan. Everyone just calls me by my nickname Rusty, so my name's Rusty Vanderbeake. I work as a construction laborer.
Oh yeah, what's the company called?
It's called Nail Bottom Construction.
No kidding. I actually know Tom. Him and I go way back. What project does he have you working on?
I mean, I kind of bounce back and forth from like job to job, but mainly I've been on the bowling alley project over there on Shitstain Avenue.
Yeah, the good old bowling alley on Shitstain Avenue. I've driven by it many times myself. It's coming along very well. Very impressive work you guys are doing. What kind of work does Tom have you doing for him?
I'm a laborer, so like I mostly move shit, clean shit, sometimes organize shit, you know, just like laborer shit.
Everybody needs a laborer. When I was growing up in the summers, I always actually worked for my father. He owned a small residential masonry company, and I would work with him to make some extra change on the side. And primarily, everything that I did for him was labor types of work. So everybody, I labored for him, and he also yelled at me the entire damn time. It seemed like.
Well, sometimes I'll like mix mud up and stuff if we're doing masonry, or like. Sometimes, like, I'll go through and I'll install, like, temporary safety rails. I just got to borrow somebody's screw gun if I'm doing that, because I really don't have any tools myself.
Well, it sounds to me like you're a jack of all trades there. Yeah. You know, I actually have a nephew who's looking to getting his foot in the door in the construction industry. And I always say that the best way to start out is by working as a laborer from the ground down, if you will. How much is a laborer job these days? How much are they paying nowadays?
Mr. Nailbottom pays me $60 an hour.
Holy cow! Well, now I'm starting to think that I might myself go start working for old Tom. That amount of money he's paying you per hour, you think he's also having you whack people off or blow those factories up or things like that? I'm just kidding. So what do you think of Tom?
Mr. Nailbottom is definitely a character, but he's been very good to me, good to his word, and he is a very hard worker. I mean, he puts his heart and soul into that business, even, sometimes I think, too much so, but he is a good man so far from what I've seen.
Tom is a good guy. He's certainly fanatic about his work. That goes without saying. But he is a good guy. He's a hard worker. You think he's crazy now? You should have seen him when he was younger. Boy, he was a wild child back then. Still, working in the construction industry. But my God, rumor has it he used to, blow up storage trailers, materials, the factories and things of that such. The people that he did not like, which for Tom, there's many of them.
Speaking of shit being blown up, there's actually a factory around here recently that blew up. Did you hear about that?
I did, yes. The Ronson and Ronson Controls factory. Did you ever meet or work with Ron Ronson?
Me personally, no, but Mr. Nailbottom has talked about him before.
What does Tom have to say about Mr. Ronson?
Just like that Ron Ronson's a scumbag, like a cheap scumbag, and he's like a poison to the construction industry, and that somebody should really blow his factory up because it would be beneficial to the construction industry, and just like stuff like that. But the whole blowing up thing, I thought that was pretty extreme. I mean, how bad can the guy really be? I never met him. I just heard about what Miss Nailbomb says about him, but what he says, he sounds like not a good guy. He's saying Miss Nailbomb's never lied to me at this point.
Yeah, I've heard of Ron Ronson before, people who've met with him. I've met him myself before, and I'll be totally honest with you, anybody that I talk to who's met Ron, they really, for the most part, don't have a damn good thing to say about him. He certainly has a lot of enemies. I would never put it past someone to blow up his factory. But then again, with Ronson, he's known to cut corners. He wouldn't put it past him to have something half-assed installed inside of his own factory that wound up, blowing the damn thing up. What a mess.
So you're like a detective. Do you investigate murders and stuff?
There are some cases that I have been involved with that had, resulted in people being killed, but now I'm an arson detective.
So you investigate people? You investigate when people light stuff on fire on purpose?
Precisely, sir. I'm actually the one who had the Ron Ronson case dumped on my desk. Yeah, well, it's a tricky case. Like I said, I've spoken to Mr. Ronson. He's very convinced that it was Tommy Nailbottom who burnt down his factory.
And what do you think?
Well, Rusty, to be totally honest with you, if this were 20 years ago, there's not a shot in hell I'd put something like that past Tom. But given that it's not 20 years ago, me personally, I just don't think that's something that Tom has inside of him to pull off on his own. He'd even, he himself would be a little bit embarrassed to admit he's just too old to be pulling stuff off like that personally himself. Now, the idea behind it, Tom Nailbottom does not like a lot of people. Tom Nailbottom is known in the past to do things regarding people that he does not like. Tom Nailbottom does not like Ron Ronson. So, would there be some sort of gain or benefit by, Tommy maybe having someone go and burn down Ron Ronson's factory? Absolutely. But Thomas himself, no. We still,
Right.
I am skeptical with Mr. Ronson's accusation that it was Tom who personally burnt down his factory. I'd have to investigate all possibilities, exhaust all possible resources. So, this accusation was made by Mr. Ronson, whose factory was burned down. So I have to make sure that I look into everything, and that would include not only looking into Tom, but his family members, his friends, and people that he works with.
Well, I would imagine you'd be pretty lousy at your job if you didn't flip every stone possible.
Exactly. So, Rusty, you being an employee of Tom's, you know him. I was hoping just to one of these days have you swing by my office, just so we can have, continue our conversation that we are here. Yeah, more or less, just as a formality, I got to make sure to talk to everybody and anybody that Tom has contact with. Not saying that we're, under the influence that Tommy 100% did it. I'm just saying that we're exhausting our possible resources and looking into all possible leads, as silly as it may be. Our conversation would be nothing more than probably something just to make my bosses happy.
That's fine with me. You gotta flip the rusty stone. I can't do it right now, so I'll have to be in touch with you. I'm probably gonna go buy a carton of cigarettes right now. They must have like a faulty HVAC system because it's getting in here and I can smell cigarettes right now. I'm just gonna go buy my own because it's so much easier than having to bum in them.
Here is my now. That's actually a brochure to Spatola's Pizza. I need that. Well, here is my card. It was very nice meeting you, sir. And I look forward to hearing from you in the near future, okay? Take it easy, Rusty. Have a nice night.
You do the same, sir. It's nice meeting you, Mr. Vanderbeake. Vanderbeake and sometimes I swear to God I'm so stupid I forget my own damn last name. Van Dyke. Rowan Rusty Van Dyke. What was this beer from? California. That's on the other side of the country, isn't it? I always knew it was. I was always pretty good at geology.